Guys, Jess Hallock here. Today I'm going to go over my favorite Ensemble hair brushes, but from a professional perspective. Sometimes when you're doing it on yourself, obviously it's different when we're doing it on our client, and the tips that I use when I'm using this brush just to make it work the best, and then why I've loved it and why I created it. So the flagship brushes of this line are the treble and the alto. It's round brush, boar bristles. We all know how much good it does for our hair and how much it does the work for us on a client. Sadie's texture is somewhat coarse. It's definitely got a really good wave. She could scrunch this up into a beautiful beach wave with like no problem, but smoothing out her hair is very tricky with like a wire brush. So she's the perfect candidate for the Alto to smooth everything out, and I won't need to touch an iron after. So I want to show you some tips of how I do that with her. In the meantime, I'm going to section her out. Something I always do when I'm prepping a blow dry is I will always detangle their hair first so I don't have to worry about it later, and then I pre-section so that I don't have to stop when I'm blow drying. We all know how much time it takes when you have to resection the hair, so it's just easier if you do it prior. And I've rough dried her hair to 50% because with a board brush you're not making a difference if it's sopping wet, so I just power through it with the detangler, and that way when I'm ready to use the boar brush, all I'm doing is perfecting, smoothing, creating volume, all of it. See, it's very, very thick hair. This is gonna be fun. So I pre-sectioned her hair, I did the mohawk, temples, just past the ears, and because her hair is so thick, one more section. And everything has been brushed out, so it's gonna be very easy to use the brush and work through it. A few tips and why I love a board brush is that you're gonna wanna rock the sections. So your first step you'll do is that you're gonna get real close to the scalp and brush it up into it. With a board brush, I don't feel like there's a need to constantly roll. Unless someone has a very tight curl pattern and that's what works best, you absolutely can. But in the beginning, you just wanna get close to the scalp so you're getting lift out of the hair, working out frizz, and getting what's closest to the scalp the most dry so that you're getting a lot of good volume. Once you get it through, and you have your hair dryer, make sure your nozzle is not directly on, it's slightly angled, because we don't want to be torching the brush, torching the hair. It's unnecessary, and you're not smoothing the cuticle. If I were to blow dry and have a hair dryer go straight down, you'd see all of her little hairs just going straight, and that's not smoothing the hair. That's honestly just not going to work. So you want to angle it out to keep it smooth, and then you're going to switch positions and go on the underneath and go the opposite way, just to be smoothing out both sides. This isn't something that a client would do on their hair. It's a lot of work and unnecessary, but from our perspective, it makes it so we won't need to finish with a straightener after, and we can go straight into curling, or maybe just smoothing out some ends with a straightener or a curling iron, but the bulk of it is done. And it'll get the hair driest the quickest. So if we've rough dried prior and we're just doing this to smooth, it goes really quickly, and even though she has a lot of hair, the brush is doing so much of the work for me that it goes fast. So when we're blow drying the ear forward, from the ear forward, I just want to show you because this matters, especially if she has all this like frizz curl right up in her hairline. You want to brush right up into her, like touch her scalp, touch her skin, these are soft enough, brush up in, and then direct forward, because if you are going back and not even getting up close in that hairline, you're still going to have this whole frizzy front that you may smooth out with an iron that you don't need to. So get over direct towards her face, brush up near her face, and direct forward, and that'll work out all of her frizz in the front. And then also, don't tug the hair if it's getting tangly. So if you're halfway through, instead of just powering and pulling it out, do it and then just let it go. Hold the hair and put it back in, because it needs to be comfortable for the client. There's no reason to fight it. It's smoothing what you're blowing through, and if someone has really long hair, lots of times I'll just drop it out reposition and continue down. And that makes a big difference for client experience, and for me, it's just more comfortable as well. Okay, so Sadie's a perfect example. Not only does she have this curl, but because she's so blonde, she's got a little bit of breakage, and that makes it kind of difficult to get a diameter of the Alto that's so big up in there. It was beautiful to be able to pick up so much hair at a time and have such a thick section that I could power through it and smooth it out, because a lot of people have less hair than she does. But up here in the front, it's almost like you need something more flat so that you can get up in there and lay it down. So you can use the flat up here, and it does have the boar in it, so it's still gonna smooth. But same thing, roll up that tension and lay it totally flat up against their head. And then you're able to smooth and get much more tight up in there, because I bet you anything she'd still go grab her straightener and smooth out those little front pieces. Okay, we're all finished. You saw that I incorporated 2 brushes. I can accomplish it with just one, but as a professional, we like to have all the things. So it's nice to have multiple to pull from. So I finished with the flat just to smooth out her ends. I know she likes to wear her hair straight, and to just add an extra touch to her hairline to make it lay flat and give her a good swoop. But I did use the Alto on her. I could use the treble, but I would more use that on myself. It's just better with a finer texture. But you can accomplish the same thing, you'll just have to work at it more often, meaning that you just take less sections, because the Alto can handle thick hair, because that's what coarse hair is. It's a thick texture and there's usually a lot of it. So it can handle the tension of a bigger section, and it's a bigger diameter so that we can put more hair in at a time and have it smooth it out. So check out all the brushes we got. I have also some essentials for things that you would need as far as a detangler, clips, and then a scalp care brush. But I hope that helped. Let me know what you think. I'm excited for you to try them.